Before we open our Premier Blind Corner kit, one important thing I'd like to point out is that you'll notice right here we have a production label located on the side of the box. Now all Rev-A-Shelf products will have a production label, and not only are they going to have the product's name, but they're also going to have a production date. Also located inside our kits is you'll notice that there are CFQ numbers on each of our sub-assemblies. You want to write down your CFQ numbers and also your production label for any of your records in case you have any problems in the future with your unit. Now we're going to begin by opening our product. Now that we have everything laid out, let's go and identify all the parts that you will receive with your Premier Blind Corner kit. First of all, we have a rear basket frame. Then we have a front basket frame. We have a slide mounting bracket. Then we have an upright frame. We have a cam base. You have your U-shaped frame. Then your lower track. Then you have your door mount brackets, your soft close slides. You also have a hardware bag, and of course your chrome baskets. Now also, you're going to have a template included for both a blind left and blind right unit, and of course your step-by-step instruction sheet. In order to install your Premier Blind Corner kit successfully, you're going to need a few tools. First of all, you'll need a tape measure. You'll need a drill with a Phillips head bit. You'll need scissors to trim your template to size. You'll need Scotch tape to hold your template in place. You'll need a number 1 and number 2 Phillips head screwdriver. You're also going to need an Allen wrench, but don't worry, this is included in your kit. You'll need a 10mm wrench, a 5/8 inch bit, as well as a 1/16 inch bit. And of course, last, you'll need some double stick tape. This will help you later on when you're trying to install your door mount kit. The Premier Blind Corner unit is designed for a frameless cabinet application. As you can see here, we have a face frame cabinet which we've actually had to modify by adding a subfloor as well as a side panel. Now depending on your face frame thickness will determine how thick your subfloor and side panel will need, but the main key is to make sure that this is flush on both the side and the bottom. Now this unit is designed for either a blind left or blind right cabinet. Now what we're going to be installing today is this is for a blind right, where your other cabinets will be right here, and it will be a door mounting left system where the door will actually be here and the unit will slide out. Now some critical cabinet dimensions are required is that you're going to need a 16¼ inch minimum opening width, as well as you're going to need a 23¼ minimum and a 28-inch maximum height for this unit to work. Now moving on into the inside of the cabinet, you're going to need 34-inch inside width as well as a 20.5 minimum inside depth. Now also, these slides are rated at 110 pounds for maximum weight. Now that also includes your door. Alright, we're now ready to begin installing our Premier Blind Corner unit, but before we start with our template, I want to point something out. As you can see here, our floor template has either an SX or a DX. Now since we are installing this into a blind right, we're going to go ahead and use the template marked SX. Alright, before we place inside the cabinet, we're going to need to trim our template a little bit. And we'll start here by trimming across on this line on both sides, and then we will put this inside the cabinet. And the most important thing to point out when placing the template is that you're going to want to notice that there are some arrows here, and you want to make sure that those are flush with the outside of the face frame. That's very important since, again, this is designed for a frameless application. It's very important to have those to the very front of the face frame. Now another thing that you'll need to point out is that we're going to need to notch this to get around this center style, and then you can pull your template forward. Now that we have that in place, you'll take your Scotch tape and you'll secure your template. Next we're going to grab our drill and our 1/16 drill bit, and we're going to drill our pilot holes referenced here on the template. Now that we have all of our pilot holes drilled, now we can remove our template. Now it's also a good idea, once you're finished with the template, you may want to fold it up and keep it for reference later on just in case you need it. All right, next we're going to grab our lower track and we'll go ahead and install the left and right side where our pilot holes are. Okay, next we're going to grab the rear basket frame. Go ahead and slide that in to the openings. And we'll slide that over to the left. Next we'll grab our black retaining clips. And we'll go ahead and pop those into place and install with the screw. Okay, next we're going to grab our U-shape frame and our plastic guide rail. Now, something to point out is that you'll notice that there is an SX or either a DX. Since we are installing this into a blind right, remember our template said SX, we're actually going to grab the SX plastic guide rail. Now what we'll do is we'll go ahead and pop that into place, and it just kind of nests right there, and then we'll flip it over, and we have these little tiny screws, and that will hold that in place. Okay, now we're going to take our U-bracket and we're going to install this inside the cabinet on our sidewall. And one important thing to point out is that you want to make sure that this part right here is flush to the face frame. Again, you want to make sure that is absolutely flush. Once you've determined that, you can go ahead and install with your 8 screws that are provided. Next, we're going to grab our plastic pivot point as well as our cam base support, and we'll go ahead and install those. Okay, next we're going to grab our slide mounting bracket and our upright frame, and we will attach those together. You just set the slide mounting bracket right here, and you'll use the supplied machine screws. Next, you'll take your plastic stop here, and you'll go ahead and install that right here. This is also found in your hardware bag. Next, you'll grab the pivot pin, and you'll go ahead and install this into the bottom of your upright frame. And you'll use the supplied Allen wrench to tighten that into place. Next, we're going to grab our 2 soft close slides, and we're going to install that to our slide mounting bracket. And this is where you'll need your 10mm wrench. Now that we have our slides installed, we're going to grab our slide assembly here, and we'll go ahead and put this into the bottom hole location. Once you have the lower piece in place, then you'll take your second pivot pin and you'll go ahead and install that into the top. What you'll need is you'll actually need to force it or press it down into place, and then you'll need to hand tighten it with the supplied Allen wrench. Okay, next we're going to grab our cam base, and also found in our hardware bag, you're going to grab the chrome connecting rod, the plastic pivot bushing, as well as the plastic retainer clip. Now we'll start by installing our cam base, and we'll slide that into place. Once we have the cam base installed, you'll take your plastic pivot bushing and you will snap that into place, and then you'll fix it in with this screw. Next, you're going to grab your plastic retainer clip and your chrome connecting rod, and you'll go ahead and snap that into the cam base as well as to the upright frame. And a little important tip is that if you lift the frame up just a little bit, you can then connect your rod. Okay, next we're going to grab our front basket frame and our 2 door mounting brackets. Now, a little installation tip is that you want to make sure that your door mount brackets are actually facing inside the unit. So we'll go ahead and slide those into place. And then what we'll do is we'll rotate that around. And then we'll go ahead and install these machine screws. Okay, next we're going to flip the unit back over and we're going to install these two little screws, and again you'll use your supplied Allen wrench to secure these in place. Alright, next we're going to grab our tube-shaped post and our metal guide arm, and we went ahead and we've attached the guide arm to the post, and then when we will install it here to the upper frame. Now one thing to point out is that you want to make sure that the guide arm is pointed out to the door. Alright, next we're going to grab the guide clip and we will install that right onto the guide arm. Okay, now we're ready to install the front basket frame, and just a little installation tip. It's much easier to install this if you go ahead and pull your slides out just about 3/4 of the way, and then you'll take your upper frame and you'll start by setting that down and snapping those into place, and then that'll allow you to attach it onto the rollers and then underneath on the guide rail. The next thing you're going to do, since the upper frame is now attached to the slides, you're going to need to finish this part of the installation with your final 2 screws, and that will screw the frame down to the slides. Next we're going to grab our cabinet door and begin by transferring the door bracket dimensions to our cabinet door. And then we will begin to drill our pilot holes. Now we can attach our door to our door mount brackets. Okay, next we're going to grab this door stabilizer bracket. Now what this will do is it will help add some rigidity to your door, and we'll go ahead and install this using the 2 machine screws, and that will bolt right to your upper frame. Okay, next we're going to grab our plastic door stop, and before you install that, you'll need to remove your unit with your door attached, and you'll want to find out, since obviously most likely they're going to have some more cabinets sitting right next to here, you want to find out where your unit opens and make sure that there's plenty of clearance so it doesn't bang into your other cabinets. Once you have that desired location, you'll take your plastic door stop and you will install it right up here against the slide. You just want to make sure that when that unit opens, that where you want it to stop so it hits that metal bracket. Now that we have our cabinet door installed, we've noticed that the pitch of our door is slightly off just a little bit. One of the cool features of this unit is that it does offer some adjustability on the door mounting brackets. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and open that up. And you have some screws here on the back which you can either tighten or loosen depending on how you want to adjust your pitch. Also, on the door frame assembly, you have 4 screws. You have 2 on the top and 2 on the bottom. To adjust the cabinet door either up or down, you'll simply unloosen the screws, move your cabinet door, and then once you've found the desired location, you can retighten. Alright, our final step is now we're ready to install our baskets, and we will start with the rear basket bottom first, and we'll slide that in. And next we'll do our top basket. And then we will move on to our front baskets. We'll do the bottom one first, and the top. Now our installation is complete.